X-Men. Now you're adding words to the X-Men song. X-Men 97 premiered today, March 20th on DisneyPlus. A Marvel animation show is here. 2 episodes have premiered. We've seen them. We're going to talk about them, except we're going to do 2 parts. Don't be scared. No spoilers for part 1. We're going to help you just real quick. What should I watch before I watch this new series? And then part 2 will be a deep dive. Full spoilers, both episodes. We're going to just hit the characters, what happened, predict what will happen next time. And that'll be the episode. X-Men 97. So excited. Logan here, Scotty Scoop, Andy the Giggler, Sam the Sleeper, and Danny Patron here for a big nerdy round table for the snack. Thanks for joining us. X-Men, the animated series. Guys, this show came out in 1992. That's right. Ran through 1997. And there's a couple lists out there that I've referenced of what should I watch before X-Men 97. All right, that was like a big question. Like, there's so many episodes. There are 5 seasons of the original series, and there's a lot. There's like 18 to 20 plus episodes per season. So I just wanted to focus on the characters that you'll want to focus on heading into X-Men 97. Give some general recaps, and full spoiler alert for the original series. Unfortunately, if you're not looking for spoilers, we're gonna spoil some stuff that happened in that 90s show. The biggest thing that you need to know coming out is at the end of the series, the X-Men say goodbye to Charles Xavier. Professor X dies. He's murdered. And one theme from the series that always is tried and true to X-Men is the prejudice against X-Men. And they've always kind of compared it and used it to be a vehicle for a dialogue with the same discrimination you see against the LGBTQ community and the trans community, also AIDS community. Like at the time, when the show's in the 90s, like that was a big part of what they were doing. So a lot of that is coming right back. Sentinels, what are those? The X-Men killing machines from the future. Those are a big part of the original series. That's going to be important for the next one. And a big villain that's in the original show, Mr. Sinister. So this is the original, one of the original big villains that we hear is probably going to be making a comeback, and we'll do that big spoiler-filled review of the show here shortly. Before we do that, let's do a quick focus on the previous series and talk about our memories of it, overall thoughts, and keep it moving. Scotty Scoop, let's start with you. X-Men, the original animated series.
Man, this was it was in my wheelhouse. I was, 12 years old, coming home from school, watching it. Man, it was so awesome.
Epic.
So good.
So fun, colorful, action-packed.
Yeah, it was great.
Who else?
Some of my favorite.
Who's the next biggest fan here? Anybody else as excited as I was? Because I was counting down the days to this new show. Who's next in line?
When you said, hey, you get X-Men 97, watch those 2 episodes. I was like, okay, fine, I can watch it, easy. I turn it on, and I think it took me like 90 seconds into the show, and a nostalgia bomb just went off and unlocked so many memories.
And you just went in. You went to the new series immediately.
Immediately.
Okay.
I was just
I like that.
I think I went in thinking, I think I watched some of this when I was little and whatnot. And first 90 seconds, and then when, Cyclops pops up, and I was like, the bomb went off in my head. I was like, I kind of remember, like, I swear I played like an X-Men video game back in the 90s.
Oh, they had the side scroller, the 4-person arcade game.
The arcade game,
yeah.
and I just remember I was like, this is a nostalgic bomb like going off in my head, and I was sucked in from that moment on.
Hell yeah, man. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, so I was a huge fan of this as a kid. I had action figures. I actually rewatched this when it came to Disney Plus, when they launched Disney Plus during like 2020, thinking I hadn't seen as many episodes as I had, and watching, the Jean Grey Phoenix saga, rewatching like episodes with Mojo, all the Sentinel stuff, Morph's trajectory in that, kind of the old version of him, all like things I had seen and loved, and used to play with toys, and so we'll talk about the new one, but it's awesome, and it feels like a continuation.
Round us out, Giggler. on the original.
Absolutely love that. Yeah, this was every Saturday morning, just little giggler, waking up,
Giggler Jr..
ready for X-Men. I mean, definitely one of my favorite cartoons growing up for sure, and I really wanted to rewatch all of these, kind of like some of you boys did for sure, coming up to this, but I only got to go through fully season 1. So I think I'm gonna. It's episodic every week, so I got plenty of time to catch up. Maybe I'll get there by maybe the 3rd or 4th episode. But yeah, this motivated me to do complete. If there's any doubt to finish a full rewatch of the original seasons, that's gonna definitely happen after watching these episodes today.
Hell yeah, nice job, guys. And same feelings here as a young person watching this show. It was one of my top favorite superhero shows for sure. So was counting down the days to see it come back. The episode you need to watch, I'll have this linked up in our episode. I saw this list from The Nerdist, one of the many publications out there. They posted a nice one. You can find a lot of these lists, and they're all going to be around these characters we mentioned. You know, Mr. Sinister, those are good episodes to watch. Magneto, maybe the introduction of that character would be very helpful. Anything with Jean Grey, there's so much that happens with Jean Grey in the X-Men series, probably the most. There's a lot of like her Phoenix saga and the Dark Phoenix saga. All combined, I mean, she has like 8 to 12 episodes, I think, that like take over this show. So obviously going to be a major part is Jean Grey. Morph they've brought back as a full-time person, and also help me out, the time traveler
Bishop.
Oh
Bishop.
my god, I mean, he was probably easily one of my favorite characters in the original series. That long black hair, just full on muscles, all the muscles, a lot of curves. This is, the original show didn't pull a lot of punches when it came to
We all know.
certain body projections.
We all know.
This is what you want to be in the 90s. Trust us. Okay, so that's the original show. Go check out the link in our profile to read the list of episodes that you should check out before you watch X-Men 97. And now, full spoiler alert for the first 2 episodes of Season 1, X-Men 97. Let's do it. X-Men 97. Get ready for nostalgia. Get ready for some familiar faces. Get ready for some continuity from the original series. Full spoiler alert right now. Let's talk about these episodes, and you have to do the same thing that the show does. The opening intro is back. The music is here.
Yeah, they redid it, but it's still the same.
What were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I was like, man, it's been updated.
It's newer.
It's
new. Fresher. It's Jubilee
Fresh,
looks
good word.
extra
Yes.
colors. Yeah,
Why?
freshened up.
Why do they even have the skip intro button? Just cancel.
No, cancel.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
a
you're
show
not a
that
fan
it
if you're
should
skipping
not.
that intro.
And
To
it
be
was
fair, I was on a time crunch this second.
It's
I
fun.
skipped
Fair.
the second one.
I picture them in the meeting room going like, no one's skipping this. No one's skipping these. And like, it was so satisfying to go from episode 1 straight to episode 2. A
Yes.
2-episode release is so nice. And my thought was, will it be a little different? And it was a little different from
a little bit.
just a little bit. They kind of working something new to like keep you coming back. This is going to be one of those intros that you'll not skip because you don't want to look away. But by the time you've watched 9 episodes of this and you've heard that song, it'll be the same as the original show probably.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
get this out of my head. Really good to get the show back onto the screen. It is sharp. We've already given that spoiler alert. Let's just talk about where the episode goes. I just don't want to waste any time right into this story. The last thing we saw, again, Professor X dies. That's where this show picks up. Professor X has died. The X-Men are kind of left to go, what happens? Scott Summers, Cyclops, looks so epic. I mean, just that outfit looks so colorful.
Yeah.
His voice is so
Classic
awesome.
blue with the white or the yellow.
Yeah,
straps.
That's the part that got me on this nostalgia part.
Yeah.
I was like,
He's got
there it is.
He's the leader of the X-Men. He's the
Yeah, we're like
assumed
3
leader.
months. 3 months removed, I think.
Yeah,
is what they said.
They do a good job of like the death certificate for Professor X with like the date on it.
I wrote it down.
November 11th.
11/11/96.
96. So it's been a few months, and Scott's like, I'm doing this. A lot of the team's already like falling apart. Like Wolverine,
Hanging on by a thread.
hanging on by a thread outside playing hoops. Not paying attention. And Jean Grey is pregnant.
Yeah.
Whoa. Never happened in the series. Has it? I don't think it's happened in the comics. Is this happened before? Are you familiar with a pregnant Jean Grey story?
I'm pretty sure they've had
Yes.
children at some point.
Yes, they have.
I mean, Cable is their son, so he's a character. He's in the original series, and so it's happened in different ways. It usually doesn't end well in the comics, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, and Cable, a major player in the first original series for sure. Did he play their son in that series?
Yeah, I mean,
Did they
No.
reveal that?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
It's like a comic thing sometimes.
Yeah, he's from the future.
You know what the show did a decent job of, and it was small, but I noticed it is if you're so far removed from like 92 or what, you just say you just fell off the face of the planet for 20 something 30 years, they introduce each person and like what their power is just slightly enough where you're like, or you could jump into the show with no knowledge and they give you just enough to understand, okay, Storm has abilities that she can control, what, you know what I mean?
Yes, and they snuck in lines even about like kind of reminding you. And
Yep.
We have a new character in the show too. Do you remember the name of the new character, the kid that they end up taking in?
Oh, that's not a new character. That's Roberto da Costa. That's Sunspot.
And he's
Yep.
in the show
He
before.
Well, he wasn't in the show, but I mean, he's a known guy. He was in the New Mutants.
But new to X-Men the show.
Yeah,
now.
new to X-Men the show.
Okay, yeah, because like the new to me, like as a watcher of the animated series, I
had
was
no
like,
idea.
I don't know who this guy is.
Okay.
And
I didn't even
and
remember.
I don't know where it's going. And then like you kind of learned about his powers at the end, which you said he's Sunspot.
Sunspot, yeah. He's,
Okay.
Kind of like the Human Torch.
And he's like, I'm rich. He said he's rich.
Yeah,
he's
he's super
single.
rich.
He's flirting
If
with Jubilee.
if anybody's seen New Mutants, that didn't do very well.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
He was character in that.
Okay. All right. You know what I really liked in this show? Cyclops. They like start showing his eyes a little bit in the visor. He's like looking like side
Yeah.
to side. I was like, whoa, I can see his pupils.
I
Yeah.
thought the same thing. I'm like, I don't remember. Yeah.
I thought the show came out swinging. Like the quips are hilarious. I think the writing
yeah.
was strong. The action was so fun.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, it's like,
they got
man,
the
here come the X-Men Sentinels in the
Friends
building.
of Humanity
baby.
stealing the or kidnapping. They got there's bounties on mutants.
$10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 a mutant. And who was it? Storm and Bishop
Show up. And
right,
it's
right
like,
off the bat.
Oh man,
there.
these guys got Sentinel guns on their arms. They got
Yeah.
a Sentinel arm in the factory.
Mhm.
The tensions of the human mutant battle are at an all-time high right now. Like it's like all anybody's talking about. It's top priority, and now mutants are being like they're getting killed again, just getting killed in the street, getting targeted for money. And then they're doing a good job too of like sharing like the human side of the experience too. Like there's a couple lines where it's like, you never realized that by existing
You're leaving us behind.
you're leaving us behind. You know what that feels like? And I'm like, I guess that
Right.
is kind of
Yeah,
true. I
yeah.
feel like
Right.
I'm not a mutant. It's like I'm not part of the evolutionary cycle. What else happens? We go. Rogue is back.
Sugar.
She got her white hair and sounds good. Gambit's here. A little bit upgraded look. A little bit different hairstyle.
Yeah.
He's
got
got
the crop top.
the crop top with the
Making-
man V, like the
making
man V
his
we're all trying to
beignets.
get. The what?
The beignets.
He's making beignets, and Scott's like, all he cares about are his beignets.
He's like,
So
yeah,
what?
you could have one right here.
Scott and Jean, they're like planning an escape too.
Yeah,
He's like,
they're gonna quit the
I
team.
want to quit the X-Men. And I mean, I loved Scott's response to Jean being like, listen, I'm pregnant. Maybe we should leave. Scott's response was, what? You want to leave the X-Men? Like he could not fathom.
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
happening.
he's an OG.
I loved it. It felt like legit to the character, They got the backwards hat on him, toward the end of the episode. We meet the Beast. We got the Beast back. That's great. Again, the writing is sharp. It's like they took out the corniness of the original show. Like the original show was a 90s, cartoon. It was patched together with
and
like,
when you
scene
watch
to
it,
scene.
you can feel it's dated for sure.
This is sharp, man. This
Yeah.
makes me
Yeah.
think
There
of
is a couple.
Invincible
There is one line that's like just got me with Cyclops. He's like, "Scary enough for you, bub." I was like, I don't know why that
Oh,
got me.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And he has his claws. He
Cyclops.
meets the new guy in what's his
In the
name?
danger room,
Dick-
Roberto,
Roberto.
Bobby.
And he's like he's scaring him. I liked it. The they show him with his like shirt off, and he's like very hairy.
Yeah.
Which like in
Yes.
the original show, it'd just be like skin and muscle.
Yeah.
All right. Like I'm like, okay, they're
Yeah,
doing things
with like the Homer Simpson like 3 lines on his chest, like that implies hairiness.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it's like when adults talk about this show. All right, Dan, let's check in with you. How are you feeling on episode 1?
Yeah, so I think for me, the first thing that stood out was the change in the action sequences. Like it's so much more fluid. They're doing so many more things. Like in that first battle where Scott or Cyclops is using his laser beam to move around, like he's
Yeah,
almost like
to back
gliding,
up,
using it
man.
to push.
That was so awesome.
That was so cool. And I just, you can see that like with modern technology, they're just able to do so much more in these action sequences and utilize like different variations of their powers and how they could use them in ways that you know get in comics, but it's paneled out, so it's not as fluid as you see in the show. They're always doing cool things. But then like I even think like Storm, all the stuff she's doing. There's a part later in the episode where she like shows up and the lightning's coming down and the sand's becoming diamonds and is crystallizing because the lightning's hitting it. Just all the action stuff for me, I was like, wow, this has the feel of the original, but is able to execute on the action part so much better. I will say some of the voices are a little different than I remember. Some are similar, some are different. Stood out a little bit at first because I watched this so much as a kid that you just have in your mind what is supposed to come out of that character's mouth, and it's slightly different, but I adjusted to it really quickly and am really enjoying the show.
They got a lot of the original cast.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's what I
to
read.
come back.
I paused on that on the end on the cast list, but well said, Dan. The action, that's all I was thinking was like, man, this is the X-Men show that you were like, I mean, this is why they brought it back. They're like, think about what we can do now. Like, think about these characters like in a what if, like Invincible style. Like we can really do this. And I saw that part with Storm making the glass like in the desert, and I thought, oh, that's cool. And then they doubled down. And she used the
twister.
glass and in the twister as a weapon, and I was like,
Yeah.
nothing
Like
gone
a
to
blend.
waste.
Yeah, that was sick.
Like that was so. I was like, I was getting goosebumps, dude. I mean, when the show first came on, in the first 10 seconds, and they just started doing the pans of like the city shots, I had goosebumps. I was like, wow, that's it. Like we are back. Like just like that, we are back.
Yeah. There was one thing I noticed watching that first episode. It's Roberto.
Yeah.
His voice acting in the beginning of that episode was like kind of subpar. I felt like I was like, this guy feels new. And then I feel like by the end he had like figured it out. I
Yeah.
didn't notice it at all. But that first like 5 minutes, I was like, sounds.
They're
like
probably
Han.
like a year apart or
Yeah.
something. You know,
sounds
he's
like
like,
Han doing
I was
Wheel
just
of
getting
Fortune.
started.
No,
Yeah.
it got way better by the end. I was like, okay, this guy's figured it out. It's kind of like being on a podcast.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, I want to hear from you too, but we'll get to the end of the episode 1 and we'll get your thoughts on the first episode before we move on to the second one. So it ends with Scott and Jean being like, "We're out of here. I've got my backwards hat on. He looks so cool." Scott Summers, like just the cool. I was like, "Man,
Oh, it's not me.
oh, you're
Oh.
you're the second cool Scotty I
Okay.
know now. You were first, but they've done a good job with the Scott Summers." The will and testament of Professor Xavier leaves the X-Men and the mansion and everything to Magneto.
Yeah.
And that is the cliffhanger for episode 1. Holy crap.
Yeah, they're playing basketball, and Beast gets the proximity alert
And they
on
all
Charles's office. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" They bust in there, like ready to scrap.
they gave us the first mislead of Magneto being in the show where they were in the training module it's like him up there with his helmet, and I was like, this can't be it, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
This is it. Long flowing white hair, the
Yeah.
smoothest voice. This guy's sexy, okay? They made Magneto extra sexy in this show, and they're doubling down on it
I'm into it.
in episode 2.
Old
Yeah.
man sexy is back.
And this is where they take that 96, like 19, by 1996, the X-Men and Magneto and everybody are like, that's enough. And episode 2, dude, oh my God, this is awesome, man. And now, a break. Hey squad, Logan here from Mostly Superheroes, wanting to talk to you today about some real-life heroes. Team Jakey, headquartered here in St. Louis, Missouri. They're turning the tragedy of losing their beloved Jake Zeller into life-changing action. Not just by making a difference, but by saving lives. Team Jakey supports both the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Provident Behavioral Health here in St. Louis. Join us at their annual Gentleman Jake Memorial Cornhole Tournament. It's more than just a game. It's a community coming together to lift each other up with some of the world's best prizes. If you're feeling down or know someone who is, Team Jakey's here with a message of hope. Reach out by calling 988. You can also visit www.afsp.org or text TALK to 741-741. You're not alone, and there's always a way forward. Someone's waiting for your call or text message. Search for Team Jakey on Facebook and learn more at www.mostlysuperheroes.com/give. Every bit helps, and together, we can make a difference. If you listen to the podcast, you know that before and after the show, when we're hungry or craving some beers or some live music, we usually end up at the Gramophone in the Grove here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's our spot for the best sandwiches in St. Louis, like the epic classic The Jive, stacked with roasted turkey, thick-cut bacon, Swiss, lettuce, tomato, avocado spread, and pepper mayo on a toasted baguette. Don't skip the sides. Nothing beats Big Willie's homemade mac and cheese. It's the sidekick that never, ever lets you down. Plus, with daily specials, there's always something new to celebrate. So come join us at 4243 Manchester Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63110 at the Gramophone, and tell them that Mostly Superheroes sent you. Visit www.gramophoneSTL.com for their full menu and more. The Gramophone, where heroes hang out. All right, back to the show. Magneto is a superhero now?
Yeah, he's saving people. There's a huge incident on Coney Island
Yeah, Ferris wheel.
with the
Ferris
Ferris wheel
wheel.
breaking down.
Like a Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer
Yeah,
vibes.
almost. Yeah,
The news is covering it. They're like, the mutant terrorist now hero.
yeah.
Oh.
He's been saving people all over the planet or the
The-
country or whatever.
And Andy, I skipped you. What were you feeling on that first
mean,
episode? I mean,
Look at this shirt.
you got the Magneto on your chest.
This is a this is not sexy grandpa Magneto. I think this is younger Magneto.
Is that
Silver.
Fassbender?
That's not Silver Fox.
Yeah, Silver
Magneto.
Fox Magneto. But I mean, yeah, that was an amazing ending. Like the whole episode, I was like, this is just vomiting nostalgia everywhere. I love it, every second of it. And then kind of during it, I was like, well, I want to see like what's the overarching like story of this whole season, like what's gonna happen. And then they drop this on us, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Oh, and man, where does it go in episode 2? This is where they're like, we're gonna take that X-Men story and we're gonna finally like give it its day. And I feel like we're like getting to the days now before where like we learned with Martin and Apotheosis Comics a few weeks ago, like the X-Men, like I haven't read any of the X-Men comics, so I don't really know where it all goes. But there's like a world, right, where the X-Men like kind of figure it out and like they become kind of like part of the world. This is kind of like starting to feel like that a little bit. Why do I say that? Magneto is summoned by the UN, and Magneto is trying to prove to the X-Men and to me that
I'm a good guy now.
he's a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the suit, the big M. This super suit
Huh.
is crazy. Is that out of the comics?
Yeah, it is. For
That's
sure.
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah.
It's epic.
Oh, wait till you see the white suit.
Oh, don't even.
Oh,
See, this
Jesus.
is it. This show is doing it, man. This is
there, a
scratching
lot
the
is
itch.
happening.
I
in-
know.
In two
think
episodes.
Think of
Yes.
what they can do too, like with just so many cameos, like how many there were in that 5 seasons of just MCU characters that are actually not X-Men. Like
So all
you
of them.
know,
and they've
they're
got
gonna,
the
you know
they've
they're
got
gonna
the
go
rights
down
to
that
all
road.
the animated characters.
Yeah, you
they
know
can
they're
put
gonna do that.
anybody they want in there.
And
Anybody.
we're getting hints of the Spider-Man in this show on the Daily Bugle, like flowing by. Was it a Daily Bugle newspaper?
I
I don't
don't
know.
Yeah,
remember
you could
seeing
see it's Eddie Brock.
It was
and
in the show.
Peter Parker's name on it.
Oh, interesting.
Eddie Brock too
Mhm.
Like,
Oh.
on the show.
on this show. So yeah, this
or maybe
show.
was that just a
said
trailer, or was
so-
that in the first 2 episodes?
It was in the first 2 episodes.
Oh, I
also,
missed it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that again.
I
Yeah.
think it's like in the beginning of like the first episode or the second episode. It's one of them, and I saw it fly by, and I was like, "There it was." Is Spider-Man a mutant? That's what the headline says.
Yep. Exactly. And I think it said something about the Hellfire Gala on it as well.
Hmm.
Oh, I missed that completely.
All right, so what happens in the story? Magneto says, I mean, he's saving people. He's like, I am going to do what Professor X said. I'm going to not kill anymore. because I'm done with that, and I'm the leader of the X-Men, and the X-Men, everyone says it, right? He did this for a reason. Like, Professor X is a smart guy. This is one of his oldest friends. They started this school together. He's the leader. UN gets him to a trial, and he's standing trial in front of this group of people, and this is the most like well-written, intricate trial where they break down like both sides. Magneto gives a really epic speech about the decisions he's made over the years, attacking people, and every decision he has made has always been a reaction to a persecution and avenging something that's happened to his people. He's like, and it's literally what you're doing to me right now in this trial, so you understand. And I mean, it's super powerful. It's like, okay, man, yeah, you got to convince everybody. Like, what is Magneto's game here? You know, like no one really knows.
Right. Is it just a power grab?
Is it like,
or is he being genuine?
Yeah, in the back of your head the entire time, you're like, when is this gonna? The script's gonna flip.
Him going to the UN was a huge thing. Him like not fighting the helicopters.
Oh yeah, they were like, oh, you don't stand a chance against us and our plastic guns.
This part of the
you
episode,
should have thought about that. He
Yeah.
was like, oh, you think?
Oh, I love the lines in
Yeah.
this. He's like, I should have been second. I shouldn't have second guessed you or whatever
Right.
he says. I'm like, this is slick.
Yeah. And then he's got the helicopters and he's.
This could have been like a finale. My voice keeps cracking. It's
That's-
nice, but it
mine
could have been a
does it too.
finale in and itself. If you like look at, there's just so much on these 2 episodes.
2 first episodes.
Keep it up, please.
Yeah.
What's he do next? He takes he ends up like there's people riot in the streets.
Oh, the
Because
Friends of
they're-
Humanity.
The Friends
are
of Humanity are
breaking
back
in.
because they're like, you can't put this monster on trial. Like, how are you? Like, is that what it is? It's like they're after Magneto. They want to kill Magneto.
Well, and they
they're-
know the X-Men are in there.
yes.
Like, we want to take out mutants, and they've got their super mutant killer, whatever his name is.
Who is that? That's what I was gonna ask you.
I can't remember his name.
Somebody's got to look it up.
Come on,
he
guys.
said his name. He said his name.
Something with a D.
He's like the destroy. It was a
Executioner?
That's what he called
Nah.
himself. But if you, I watched it on subtitles, and they kept
Nice.
saying Deca or Decta. I don't remember.
Was that that's the guy you're talking about, right?
He calls himself the Executioner at one point.
Carl Denty.
Denti. This part of the show,
Yeah, he's like the lead.
I don't know if it was purposeful, but I felt like there was some parallels to like the insurrection, Capitol.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
I don't know what date that was.
January 6th.
January 6th.
January 6th. It was a dark day. I don't
Yes,
know.
it was.
Try to forget.
We're all
every day.
trying to
X-Men's
move
like
on.
X-Men's like remember that. Yeah, these guys, they bust in, they break into the place, and I mean, they shoot this gun. They finally get like kind of all the way in. During all this chaos, Jean goes into labor, and Wolverine
He's only at home with Wolverine.
and Wolverine's like, oh crap, and she like uses her powers to like throw
She's
him
like,
his jacket
"He's
and
here."
his keys.
He's here, and Wolverine
Goes
goes,
who?
Who is it?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. I'll take him out, bub.
We really skipped over the epic battle scene in episode 1 where, everything happened and they took down the whole army of Sentinels.
Oh yeah, with Bolivar Trask. One of the, I think,
The biggest.
out
the
of the-
biggest.
out of the 2 episodes, like the coolest thing that I saw was when the Sentinel ripped the top off the Blackbird, and everybody's just going everywhere. And I
Oh.
was like, "Who's gonna grab Cyclops? He didn't need to be grabbed."
You know what he said? Meet you guys on the ground.
Yeah. I was like,
Which I wanna know the
"Holy crap.
Physics
that was the,
of that.
He's
Yeah,
like,
like-
initiate eye thrusters.
Yeah, that would have blown his head back for sure. But man,
Whiplash.
with the superhero landing there, that was badass.
Yeah,
And
good
then
call.
lighten up his Wolverine's claws with Gambit's, powers.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Morph turning into Blob and shooting him into the
Oh,
Master
yeah.
Mold.
That was awesome. He's like,
Yeah.
belly up. Belly up, Morph.
I think Morph became my favorite in this one.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
Oh my
he,
God.
he changed into Archangel.
How many,
was
how
all
many
over the
people?
place.
and
I don't
grabbed
remember
some
any.
guys.
I don't remember anything about him from the others.
He
so-
changed into Wolverine's
Yeah.
ex-lover in
Saber-tooth.
episode 2. And-
Oh, Lady Deathstrike.
yes.
Oh.
And then like,
He was Psylocke at one point.
He was Psylocke.
Yeah.
nice, Dan.
Yeah.
Yep.
He posed as Jean Grey for a minute to
Yeah.
Professor X.
poke fun
Professor
Magneto,
X at the
poke
very
fun at-
beginning. Yeah.
yeah, Wolverine. That was
Remind me.
pretty savage.
Does Morph get the powers, or is it all imitation? Does he get the powers of whoever he morphs
You know,
into?
typically in the past, it was just appearance and voice. But it really seemed to me like
That's
he
what-
was getting the powers.
That's what I thought.
Like, he seemed like really tough.
Yeah. Like when he turned into the blob and, shot him off his belly.
I do put into question that power a little bit, because isn't Gambit's power basically like, I can make this thing light up and then it's an explosive?
He can
Yeah.
charge
Energize-
inanimate objects
Yeah.
with kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I just thought they always had to blow up.
They usually explode.
Like, he usually lights them up and he's like, now you blow it
Yeah.
up. Like, you lit up the cracker, you threw it
Right.
out, it blew up.
The beignet.
The beignet.
Yeah,
duh.
mon ami.
So whenever he lit up his claws, I was just like, it's cool, but like,
But why
how's he
isn't
put it out?
Wolverine exploding?
yeah, why doesn't he blow
Or
up?
maybe he did blow up
and he healed.
and he healed
Maybe
super
those
fast.
claws are indestructible.
I mean, they adamantium.
Exactly.
All right, so back
That's
to episode. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
No, I said that's it. That's
That's the
what
reason,
they call
yeah.
it, the fastball.
The
I think that's
fastball
all.
special is usually Wolverine and Colossus or
Yeah.
Beast.
He turned into Colossus too. Morph did.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
He did.
That was
I went like
that's-
this.
was a
Colossus
Oh, yeah,
is
that's
here.
right.
And I was like, like the characters that showed up. I couldn't believe it.
I love it.
All right,
Told you.
so they're in the big battle. Jean goes into labor. She goes to hospital with Wolverine. Scott gets flown off by Rogue. Storm takes the bullet from the super gun to save Magneto,
Yeah,
and she has lost her powers.
gone.
Dude,
The winds. I can't feel the
I
winds.
can't feel the rains.
air.
Dude, this is crazy. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe they did this in episode 2. But then I was like, all right, she'll be back.
The way the episode was
yeah.
going, I'm like, they're throwing everything at us. She's gonna die. Wow.
Right. I
Storm
thought she was
dies
going to die too.
immediately.
I thought she was going to die
Oh
too.
yeah, I thought they were totally going.
I thought it was
this
like, hey,
a,
welcome to the fun
this was a
X-Men
kill
movie.
shot.
Yeah.
Like it's
How do you like
really
the show?
surprising. The Friends of Humanity like pulled it back a notch, and they weren't just trying to murder the mutants.
I thought they were going to take a page out of Invincible, like, this is a fun show. Get ready. And then death!
Yeah.
Death! Like, 2 X-Men are dead.
Yeah.
But no, she's
Yeah.
okay. She was like
Depowered.
depowered.
She'll get him back.
She wrote that really heart-touching letter to the X-Men. That was something, man. You just feel like these characters have just been like in every episode for like years on end,
Yeah.
and they're like we've all been through it together. Magneto takes the UN people, and he takes them to space.
Yeah, and the upper atmosphere.
And it's like you can see their breath. You
yeah.
look down, you can see the earth, and he's like, "Listen, I would normally kill you. I would. I can't, because we have to team up. Like, this planet is big enough for all of us. We have to stick together." And they turn in his favor. That's like where it reveals is like, all right, we're gonna try. It was a major win, like for mutants, essentially. He's like, they pardoned Magneto, and the person on the news, the UN person, was like, and in addition to that, we're doing a lot more to bridge the gap, right? But he's like, it's not true. He's back at the X-Men compound. He's telling Scott, he's like, I know you and Jean are leaving, but you got to be like, keep your head on a swivel. Like, this was a big win, but it's not over. And like, I'm buying like everything
Yeah.
this guy's saying.
100%. Like, yeah, you're the leader now.
And
they're gonna play into that suspense the whole season.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like Homelander when he's on screen and you just can't tell what the hell he's gonna do at any given time.
This
Like
uneasiness.
the whole time, I'm just gonna be like, when's he gonna go bad?
snap.
And
Yeah,
how
when's he
bad's
gonna-
it gonna be?
When's he gonna give the order to kill people
Yeah, with
or-
some secret armor
or
army he's
something
got.
crazy, and then the X-Men are gonna have to turn against him and be like, "We're not doing this."
and which side is Rogue gonna choose?
Which side is Rogue gonna choose? Because
Sexy old man.
yeah,
And Gambit
you
is
can't say no to the Silver Fox, and now
Gambit-
we got a love triangle.
he's heartbroken.
oh yeah,
They're giving that speech at the end of episode 2. It's like, sometimes you
Rogue does the walk of shame out of his
Yeah.
office.
right. Did they? Is that?
And
Are we? We're
and
meant
Gambit
to think.
is like in the dark, like
Is there sex in this X-Men show? The sex
the
man.
sex
That
man.
club scene, people were kissing,
I
getting
mean-
hot and heavy in that club.
Oh my
Jean
god,
Grey.
the
Yeah.
club scene was crazy.
Yeah.
Jubilee and
Jubilee's
and
like-
Roberto there.
Dancing. She's not hiding
yeah.
that she's a mutant at all. in that
Oh
club.
yeah, she's just like pow, 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 pow,
They're like,
pow.
Roberto, they're gonna find you.
Pew pew pew.
and
pew.
she's over here flaunting her.
Right. And he looks like a total normal guy,
Yeah.
just like dancing in a club. And she's like, all right, well, I'll give you one dance. Pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, rave, raving.
Oh man, that'd be fun at a rave.
All right, what
That'd be
else?
sweet.
What else did we learn? We learned. All right, so Jean is using Cerebro to interrogate the guy that killed Professor X.
Yes.
Anybody remember his name?
Oh.
I mean, they're definitely trying to help us out. They say it
Gyrick.
Gyrick.
nice. And during
Henry Gyrick.
during this investigation of his brain, she gets a lot of the answers of like, yeah, we're building Sentinels. We're tired of humans. I killed Professor X because I wanted to. And then also the craziest thing happens to her ever, and she like slips into some kind of like psychic thing where she's in an infinite graveyard, and there's a big monster that says
It was
something.
the Master Mold. I am Master Mold.
Master Mold. So where did
But
what happened?
I don't think that's Master Mold.
right.
Like,
what happened?
I'm pretty sure this is the Shadow King.
Okay.
You know, because he's
Mojo.
No. Mojo is his own thing.
Shadow
King is
separate.
from
Okay.
Mojo. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Shadow King. He's, a brain villain.
He tends to plague like the telekinetic characters.
Yeah.
He get like Jean Grey, Charles Xavier. I feel like he might have been in the old show at one point.
Yeah, I think he
briefly.
was.
I think he was. But yeah, he shows up in like kind of this alternate realm, just about, and he's like the ruler there.
Nice
Yeah,
guys.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, so more to come on that for sure.
Yeah.
So in this episode 2, she has the baby. Scott made it there.
Nathan.
Oh, Rogue has
welcome-
to steal the powers from the doctor.
Oh my God!
Deliver the
Thank
baby.
you.
Forgot about that.
She's like,
I didn't know it
be-
worked that
she
way.
I'm not
becomes a-
delivering a mutant baby.
She just touches him for 5 seconds, and she's a whole doctor.
I need you to get an IV started. And the nurses are just like, yeah, let's go.
Like
Come
she
on,
goes,
Doc.
she goes, if I touch your baby, that's bad news. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
she's right.
That kept
You
me.
should probably wear gloves like most doctors do.
I wondered if she stole that guy's knowledge. Like, did she just keep that knowledge?
No, it's temporary.
Yeah,
Temporary. He
it's
gets it
on a
back.
timer.
Man, and he looked messed up whenever she
Well,
touched
she's
him.
like, sorry, and I was like, she just
Well-
steal that dude's PhD?
Yeah.
Her doctorate?
He worked so
Yeah.
hard for it. It's just gone.
He's a vegetable now.
and baby Nathan's born.
Yep. Nathan, Xavier,
Nathan Charles.
Charles.
Summer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Summers.
Old Nate Charles.
Who is that? Is that somebody?
That's Cable.
Yes.
That is Cable?
Yeah.
That's like the same name?
Yes.
Way to go, Dan.
I know where this is going unless they change it. So I've read a lot of the comics. That's why I'm like kind of holding back with this cliffhanger.
I appreciate that because I'm like
Bring
a
it
real,
to-
I'm a little
Yeah, I
kid
don't wanna
watching
spoil it.
right now.
Same,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm on the
There
edge of my
are-
seat. Like, what's gonna happen?
There are a number of Nathaniel Summers.
There are.
So we will see if this one is Cable.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and then the big cliffhanger. I think this is where it leaves off. If anybody thinks of anything else, let me know. But they're Scott and Jean. They got the baby. They are thinking about leaving. But they're all there together with the X-Men.
We're like, but do we really want to leave this in the hands of Magneto?
That's the big question.
unchecked.
Right. And Storm, what happened to Storm, it's like, man, are we really going to leave now? Okay, there's a knock on the door. Open the door. Another Jean.
Jean Grey.
What does she say?
I am looking for the X-Men. And it's raining, it's soaking wet. The other Jean has the baby,
Yeah.
Scott. Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Round tables, what to expect, and what you think so far, but mainly like we're looking forward. What without giving it away, if you know the answers, like Scott and Dan probably. Let's start with you, Sam the Sleeper.
What I think?
Yep.
I
So
love
far.
it. So far, I am. So I honest to God truth, I was like, fine, I got to watch these 2 episodes. I like the X-Men, but I'm like I said earlier, could not remember that I even like watched the show, played video games. I am hooked now. I'm like, I just watched the show. Screw the podcast. I'm just gonna watch
I'm
the
in.
show.
I'm in.
I'm in. That's what I think.
Giggler.
I'm in all about X-Men ever since spoiler alert, the end of the Marvels. Everyone has been kind of down that road of like the live action movies, where when's that going to happen? But honestly, this is a great entrance into that for Marvel in an animated world that, I mean, they throw this nostalgia that so many of us are just like latching onto right now. they're going to kill it. And I think it's going to end up hopefully with kind of the X-Men blowing up in popularity, and then hopefully it translates to on screen, and maybe they bump that up a little faster. See the dollar signs with Disney and Marvel. We'll see, but I'm fine either way. Slow play it as they have been, or just get right to it. There's a lot of turmoil there, but this show is gonna crush, and I'm so excited for next week already. I wish there was more than one per week every week, but let's go.
Yeah, you drop them all at once. I'm watching it on a
Yeah.
weekend, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Danny P, how about you?
So I love it. Feels like a great continuation. I love what they've shown so far. Like I said, I do know a lot about the comics, so I'll keep away from where the cliffhanger is. But what I will say that is my prediction is that, and this is more of like a business prediction of how Disney is handling this, is that I bet Spider-Man shows up and we get a Spider-Man 90 whatever
98
announcement where they bring him back, or the Avengers or something. I feel like there's gonna be a crossover, and if this does well, which I think it will, then they'll be like, oh, we're gonna bring back some of the other ones,
Yeah,
that's my business
Yeah.
decision.
There's
like,
no
prediction.
reason not to.
Is anyone
Yeah.
gonna doubt that this is gonna do well though? I don't know.
Well,
I have zero.
It's
So
actually-
far, it's
zero
there are
doubts.
some
It's
doubters
action.
out there,
Yeah.
but few and far between, I think.
Tell us what you think, Scotty.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this to keep going. We get what, 8 episodes, 9 episodes?
I don't even know.
something like
I
that.
honestly don't even know.
You
Which
could
is
tell
a-
me it was 2, and I'd be like,
Oh, here.
it
Which
was
is
great.
a big different, obviously, from the original. Was like, I think
10.
no, I think it was
There's
10.
there's 10
we're getting
total.
10
Sorry,
episodes?
yeah, there's 10
The
total.
original, I think we were getting 20.
It was 12 in the
20,
first, and
20,
then I think it
20
went up to 20,
You
up to
know.
23 max. I went through it today
But
because I
I-
was counting up.
10
I
is
could-
nice.
I could definitely see them capitalizing on this and making an Avengers, making anything really, to where they stagger these, and just like comic books, they could have an episode of something weekly
Yeah.
all year.
I mean, forever.
There's no reason not to.
The thing
Well-
about this show is that they don't like X-Men can be the entry point for all of it.
Yeah.
And Bishop's got the time travel cuff. They've made it clear that like we know about the time travel cuff. Like they've already put Jean bouncing around like cosmic different places.
Mm.
Anything can happen. That's what I got excited about, was like they're not scared to show you different people and
Yeah.
different characters.
And then they, oh, this happened in the original series and you missed it. Oh, well, they've got the time travel cuff and they retconned it. So
whatever. Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
I
mean, they changed how the characters like straight up look, and like
Yeah.
the styles have like things
some
change.
Some look a lot better and some are missing a little something.
And
extra.
Bishop, was he there in the last episode of season 5? I feel
don't,
like he was
I don't
not
recall.
there. I don't think
but
he was.
I don't think so. He was always like a recurring character. He'd
Yeah.
pop up like if
Like, oh, you guys
Sometimes when
screwed
Cable-
up the past again.
But
you
they
know?
did.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job. I kind of rewatched a lot of that show a few times at parts where they really kept track of like when the time travel happened, and then like okay, after that happened, this guy that time travels noticed that happened, and then
Yeah.
they had that epic crossover with Mr. Sinister being
Mhm.
the big bad, and actually Apocalypse? No, not Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
No, it's not Apocalypse. It's
what happened, and I'll tell you which one
Yeah.
it was.
who's the mutant that lives forever? Purple.
That's Apocalypse.
It is Apocalypse. Yeah, and they had that big storyline. Man, I thought they nailed the time travel stuff. So thinking about how they'll do that in the present day show
Mhm.
with like the MCU and stuff at play, and like what if at play,
Yeah.
like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've seen a little bit of a pause on these animated shows, the superhero animated shows from Disney. So I feel like this could be something that leads. Like when I think back to like when the original Avengers movie came out, there was a ton of stuff on like the Disney Channel that was coming out. They had an Avengers
Yeah.
thing, then they launched Guardians of the Galaxy,
There's like
they were-
Spider-Man and his super
Spider-Man,
friends.
yep.
And, yeah.
all kinds of things, and it's been a little. I mean, unless I'm just so far detached from like the Disney Channel and I don't have cable these days, I don't see it, but I don't see all the shows. So I'm wondering if from a business decision, they said, okay, cool it down. We're going to go in this direction. This is the first thing that catapults these other things. I hope
Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
Well, and they've talked about not only just bringing back this X-Men 97, but they've said, anything from the past is really on the table. So I know they had a lot of very popular. I know one of the Spider-Mans everybody loved. I can't remember which one it was.
The
One
animated
of the later ones.
Yeah, it was one from like 2010.
Yeah.
I think it was like Drake Bell was the voice
Yeah.
of Spider-Man, and then they had Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was from around that same
That one's-
timeline.
That one was pretty good.
Yeah,
I actually
it was
watched
real
that
good.
one. Yep.
Yeah, bring
All
him back,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Well, let's see. Hey, we're only 2 episodes in. We're this excited. Something's going right. And we'll be doing weekly recaps of each episode. So we'll take you all the way through every episode through the 10 episodes of the first season of X-Men 97. Marvel Animation is doing it, a branch of Marvel Studios. This is streaming on DisneyPlus. Go check it out and come back to Mostly Superheroes for your X-Men 97 catch-up. Mostly Superheroes is proud to be funded in part by our sponsors. Mostly Superheroes is funded in part by paying patrons who receive early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com/support. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcast. Mostly Superheroes is an independent podcast owned and operated by Kerrigan Ventures in St. Louis, Missouri. Hosted by Logan Janis, Andy Hunn, and Scott Swearingen. Brand and creative by Carrie Clark Design. Music by Audionautics. Learn more at audionautics.com. Find more at mostlysuperheroes.com.